Welcome to the Lead Well podcast, where I have fascinating conversations with insightful female leaders who are changing the world to discover what leading well means to them. In these real conversations, we'll discover what makes them thrive, discover their journey, the challenges they've faced, and most importantly, how they navigate this decade of disruption and transformation. In each compelling conversation, you'll receive raw and relatable advice, thought-provoking ideas, and explore how to effectively lead from the front. Welcome to the Leading Well podcast. I'm Phillips, your host. Today we have the opportunity of speaking with Dr. Layla, a leading cardiologist right here in Dubai. Her experience, her background, she's actually from the UAE. She studied in Ireland, and she has chosen to make her life here to change the lives of those around her. It's an incredible story. You're going to love her legacy leadership and her focus on how to live well and also look after your heart. Dr. Layla, it is so fabulous to share time with you. I have so many questions about your history. Let's start with that to begin with. You're a cardiologist now, a specialist in your field and very famous, but you started here in the UAE. Your grandmother actually supported the local community, or your great-grandmother. So you come from a history of care. How did you become an actual doctor?
Thank you for the nice introduction. It's actually, yes, you're right. It was my great-grandmother. And it was kind of like in the 50s and 60s in the UAE, specifically in Ras Al Khaimah. She was with the healthcare system, it was not as much developed as it is at the moment. And the healthcare, especially for women, was not that much available in Ras Al Khaimah. So she was the lady sitting in her house, and people were going to her for any complaint that they had. And actually, my father's grandmother as well, she was a midwife, although she did not go to school or she did not go to university. Wow. But at that time, she was delivering all the ladies with all type of complications that they had as well.
But this was also the history of, wasn't it? I mean, there wasn't that type of healthcare then, so it came through knowledge. It came through passing down through generations.
Experience.
So when you were young and you were around your family and they were involved in healthcare, is it something you then thought, what can I do? How can I give back? When did you decide? Because your father didn't go to university. Your mother finished school in, grade 9 as such. So you don't come from a history of academics necessarily.
Yes.
How did you choose this grand plan?
Yes. As a child, I was really kind of like a very active and, as you call it, naughty child.
I can't imagine that.
I didn't think about the university by itself. Wow. But my father, because he did not have the opportunity to go to the university, he was always supporting us in education, and anything has to do with education, my father was very supportive of it, and he always wanted the best for us. And at the time when I was at school, the best job in this world was being a doctor. Of course, this conception has changed now these days, but at that time was a doctor.
Same in Australia.
Yes.
If you had the best score at school, it would be doctor.
Yes.
It would be then dentist, and it would move down the ranks. So
yes.
It was almost expected in Australia, where I come from, is that if you had the best marks, you needed to become a doctor.
Exactly, yes. Plus, my sister, she's 1 year older than me, and she went to Ireland and studied medicine as well. So my father encouraged me to take her path and be together. So my father ended up with 2 doctors in the family.
But this is also, may I ask, is it almost breaking tradition for your 2 daughters to leave the UAE, to go to a different country, Ireland of all countries, because you almost have a little bit of an Irish accent when we have some fun and you start laughing, it really does come out, is that was a very courageous move on behalf of your family, was it not?
Yes, it was actually. I was 18 when I left to Ireland. We had people like my uncle, they went to US for their higher graduation degree, but we never had ladies going abroad. So my sister and myself, we were the first ladies. And then my cousin and the other people, they followed us after that, a few years later. But it was kind of like of course, my mom, she was very kind of like a bit scared and really sad, two of her daughters leaving us and going there. Of course, the scholarship that we got from UAE Higher Education, Ministry of Higher Education, it helped us because the UAE, they've done all the arrangement for us when we went there. But it was tough. It was not an easy thing to be done, but we did it. It was challenging and we learned a lot.
Well, you always learn from your challenges, and that's part of leading well, particularly as a woman.
Yes.
What were your greatest learnings? Because you moved into not a regular sphere of being a doctor, but you specialised in one of the most precious parts of medicine, and that is cardiology, caring for the heart.
Yes.
And the heart is, the beat of us. It's what makes us individuals. How did you get to choose that you would take on this particular area?
Your question reminds me of the question that I was asked when I went for an interview in Royal College of Surgeons in Dublin. They told me, why do you want to become a doctor? I told them I become a doctor because among all the other reasons is when I have a pain, I have two pains. One pain is the pain, the physical pain that I have, and the second pain is not knowing what's wrong with me.
Actually, that's so true though, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's why I became a doctor. And now your question is, why did you become a cardiologist?
Why the heart?
Because it matches my personality, because I'm a person that I like action and I like things to be fast. And with heart, everything is fast and everything is in action. It's not like other specialities. Oh, we can wait. Tomorrow we can go to see the doctor.
Yes.
It's different. So I think it's matching my personality. And I love it because it is very active. It never stops. Even the heart itself, the organ, among all the organs, is beating and it's active 24/7.
It's the hardest working organ, isn't it, really, in the body? But we have, in our vocabulary, no matter where you are in the world, we talk about heart-to-heart conversations.
Yes.
We talk about holding your heart in your hand.
Yes.
We're talking about heartfelt moments. So it's such an open word that we use across all languages.
Yes.
Was it hard, may I ask, as a female, to decide to become a cardiologist in a different nation? Because for many females in the world of medicine, they have told me over the years that it's been very challenging with them, for their peers, for their male peers, to advance, to be seen as equal, and maybe to actually overtake some of their male peers into their areas of advancement.
Yes, it is. It's not the easiest speciality to do, especially that if you have patients, so if they're unwell, so you have to attend to them no matter what time of the day is it. And the other question that you said about how you will for the male doctors, I have this concept in life that work hard and nobody can ignore you. So
I love that. This is a great concept, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, even if you work hard and even if you keep low profile, still people will notice you, still people will admire you. So you work hard and have a goal always and work toward it, and then you'll achieve whatever you want and you'll attract the attention of other people and nobody can ignore you.
But I love that attitude as well, is that you don't have to stand out by noise.
Yes, exactly. I'm not a person that stands out by noise. Yes. And I stand out with my work, the hard work and the quality of the work that I deliver. And all the patients, as you said, the heart goes with passion. Yes, because I have passion and I care about my patient and I care about their well-being. I always treat them as if I'm treating one member of my family. I'll always treat them the way I would like if my father goes to another doctor to be treated the same way. And I care about them. I give them my mobile number and I interact with them. And sometimes I spend a lot of time in the consultation with them talking about their family aspect, because they feel comfortable, they just open up to me, and you can give them holistic approach of treatment rather than just treating the heart issue that they have, because you have to know what is the social background. Maybe it's all a stress, maybe somebody lost the mother, or maybe have a problem with the business that they're doing, and this is reflecting on their health. So you would know how to treat them based on the holistic history and approach of your treatment.
I love this style of treatment as well as the holistic piece. Can I come back to, was it always your plan to come back as a trained doctor to the UAE? Was that always the pathway, that you would go abroad, you'd train, you'd come back? Your father must be horrified with two daughters with accents from a different country. Was that the plan? You'd come back and you'd actually work here?
Yes, my country has given me a lot. Okay, so I've got my 12 years school, and then I've got my 2 masters, and I've got my diploma, and I've got my PhD. And throughout the whole thing, it was sponsored by UAE government. So I have the obligation to return back and to serve the country who gave us 27 years of education. So so that's why I had to come back in intention to serve the nation, serve the country that gave me a lot, and it was time for me to give it back. But I stayed in Ireland for 10 years, and I said, let me go back to my country when I'm ready to give the best quality of care, and then I will go back. And then my father, after 10 years, saying, aren't you coming back? I said, all right, it's time to go back now.
It's time to come back.
Yes.
And what have you found has changed as a female in leadership in that 10 years that you're away? Not just in the medical sector, but for women in general.
Well, things has changed a lot, and we can spend the whole day talking about all the changes that happened during this time. Of course, the one thing that I've noticed when I was away and coming back on holidays, every time I used to come back on summer or Christmas time, I used to use the Google map to see where I'm going. The roads was changing so fast.
Wow.
The buildings, the things, so the infrastructure was changing a lot. And then more women came into leadership position and in a senior position, and then until they became ministers. So a lot of changes happened, and a lot of support for women from the government as well. And we would have been in this position without all the support that we got from our leadership in this country.
And very young women.
Yes.
You know, when I look at some of the leadership roles, particularly in the political sphere, they're very young women leading incredibly big departments, making big decisions for the nation, which is so exciting. I think the world has a lot to learn about leadership from women. And I found that when I first came here, you know, the expectation of what it would be like to meet a local Emirati woman and how we would be welcomed as a Westerner from Australia. And I feel like I've been so embraced.
Yes, of course. And then when we talk about all of this achievement and the government support when we go abroad, we really feel proud that what our leadership are providing the women with.
Absolutely. Well, moving forward, what is next? Because the PhD, the work that you continue, what do you see as next? I hear there might be a book coming in LA.
Yes, I mean, I achieved a lot in my life, and when I look back, I see so many appreciation certificates, so many trophies, so many pictures with rulers of UAE and ministers. And then when I look at my CV, it's more than 13 pages with achievement. And there's so many newspaper articles and TV interviews.
And can I ask for a moment, because you were the first?
Somewhat, yes, because in many things I was the first. And then because, as I said, my concept, working hard, nobody can ignore you because of the dedication and the working hard. And then they're all around the place. I decided to put all of them into one place in a book, and then for my children and grandchildren to learn from it. And initially, to be honest, I don't have intention of publishing it, but we'll see how it will go now.
I think, you know, yes, you are not a self-promoter. I have a feeling that when others read your book, they will want to know, because it's the journey, a one woman's journey, from the history of the UAE to the forefront of changing world medical science as well, and to leading, but also leading women, because you must have so many young women that look up to you and say, if you can do it, if Dr. Layla can do it, then I might be able to forge my own path, and I could also help my own country and create my own destiny. That must make you feel very proud.
It does, but as you said, I don't like to talk of myself. When I look at some people and the way they talk about themselves, I said, if I had that ability, my CV would have been 100 pages. And then I tell myself that I've tried it all. I've tried it government sector, I've tried the private sector, and I've tried even my own business as well. And I've tried the university life by being an associate professor in some of the universities. So I felt like all of this experience needs to be taken to the generation to come, and putting all the experience and learning and the wisdom of that I had. Of course, these wisdom I've taken from my experience in life and from my grandmother and great-grandmother as well, and my parents, of course.
It's a beautiful legacy leadership story, isn't it?
Yes.
Is to your heritage and where you've come from, but also how you see the future growing. If there's one thing that you could recommend to other women, whatever their journey, whether it's in healthcare, but leading well, looking after themselves as well, because you're a mother, because you're extremely busy, and I think a little bit of a workaholic. It comes with a job.
That's what my kids telling me anyway.
Is how do you lead well into the future?
Well, the main thing is to put a target for yourself. So you wake up every morning, and my concept is, if you wake up in the morning, you say you tell yourself, let's wake up for a purpose. Let's wake up and do some changes. If you're waking in the morning and you don't like the place where you're going to, don't go. Life is too short. Do things that you like. If you don't like what you're doing, change it. This is what the life has taught me. And then dedication, persistent. Be persistent with what you want. You may not get it for the first time. And I've seen a lot of people, they're not the smartest, but because they're persistent, they got what they wanted.
True.
And never give up. Never, ever give up. And sky is the limit, you know. And I always tell my kids, there always play a way of just expanding what you want and putting more and more on your plates. My daughter tell me, please, Mama, you've got enough on your plate. Don't put your plate is full. I said, no, sky is the limit, and we should never say no. And every time, ask yourself, when was the last time you've done something for the first time? And if it has been a long time that you have not done something for the first time, you need to do it and you need to change. And that's what I've done a year ago. I started playing paddle, and I'm enjoying it until today.
How fantastic.
Yes.
So it is an expansion. And I think for many women, they get so focused on their career as well, they don't look at other parts or aspects of their life. And so by taking up paddle, by looking at different opportunities, it also keeps you young and fresh, but it keeps your mind active.
Of course, yes.
And I think an active mind allows active scope.
Of course.
And that means we're continuing to move forward, isn't it?
Yes, and learn some new languages, for example. Learn something new. Memorize poem, for example, just to keep the brain exercising, like the way we exercise our muscles. We need to keep the body busy and brain busy as well.
Well, not just from the medical side. My last question for you is, how can we look after our heart?
You have to do whatever you like. You know, you don't do things that you're forced to do. Yes. I'm not telling this so everybody will quit their job tomorrow based on this interview. No, but you should look around and see what you like and do what you would like to do. Follow your passion. I always say, like what Steve Jobs said, if you're dying tomorrow, what would you like to do today? Yes. So do that, because life is too short. So, and then know way how to control your stress. Stress is the #1 enemy, I think, and it will really kills your innovation, your innovation ability, your creativity. So knowing how to deal with the stress is very good. And then spend some time around friends and family.
Yeah, joy.
Joy.
Joy is good for the heart.
Yeah, joy. Yeah, I mean, joy is one way, but reaching out for your family and friends give you longevity and give you happiness. Joy is another thing. You can have fun by going hiking, for example, or going for a drive. But relative and family, a strong social bond is very important.
Because I think that
keeps you young.
Yeah, that keeps you young, and it knits us together.
Yes.
Your family must be so proud of the legacy you have created, and also that they have pushed and created for you by being so able to help you and promote that you could go overseas to come back here.
Yes.
And to lead the country in healthcare, but also in leadership for women. So thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to interview you again, because I know the next one's going to be on your book.
Thank you very much for having me.